All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Apologies for the delay. Um, I had a system restart and it just was a little delayed getting everything back up and running, but I think I am good to go. Good morning, Michael. Good to see you. I think I have everything up. All right, let's just dive right in since we're a couple minutes late. Welcome to the Market Watch Group Weekly Market Prep. My name is Scott. I will be your host as always. It's good to see everyone. How's your Sunday? Little rainy and overcast here where I am. I'm ready for spring, I think. Here are the disclaimers. As always, educational, illustrative purposes only. No recommendations to buy or sell. That's particularly important as the alerts come. Here's the agenda for today. Nice in Atlanta. Nice. 32 and sunny in Rhode Island. Nice. Good to see you. And hello to you, Bob. Okay. Good morning, Barry. What are we doing today? As always, market posture, market posture, market posture. It's the beginning, it's the end, it's right. When in doubt, ask the market. That's our thought process. We don't decide what to do. We allow the market to instruct us what to do. Tell us what's going on. Where is it happening? What should we be concerned about? So we'll do our posture. We will look at the economic calendar at the week ahead and see what's coming up that might influence, inform, or help adjust the market. Sectors, of course, if we're now, I feel pretty good. I feel like we added maybe healthcare. Like we talked a little bit about healthcare. You tell me, as you look at your watch list, as you look at where money seems to be going, do you have your eyes on it? Right? We're always open. I mean, we should never just be really, actually, we should just do maybe a couple searches a week just in case, right? Just in case we see something new that pops up and you're like, wow, maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll start to search a little bit more. We will do watch list maintenance. So we will eliminate any stocks that we're looking at that we think, you know what, I just don't think I would trade this now. I just don't think that the signal that it's likely to give next is going to be a good enough signal that I'm going to take that trade, right? Okay. We'll look to see what we think is going to be the setups and the trades early in the week, next week. So what do we have that might be tradable Monday or Tuesday? And then we'll talk about the trading plan section of the week. I told you, you'll blink and here it is. We're on section 8. Section 8, which means that if you were just for the first time starting your trading plan, you'd be done. You'd have your first pass, your first iteration in the bank. And then you would have the ability to trade the next 2 months with that plan in mind. And now all of a sudden you have a basis, a starting point where you're like, oh, I think I didn't write that right. I didn't express myself correctly. Because now as I'm executing it, I think I actually need to say it this way. And all of a sudden, you start to gain clarity, right? So remember, the first stage is just to define it. There's no expectation that you create a perfect trading plan on your first try. I don't expect that. I hope you don't expect that. So it's just a matter of on the first pass, it's like put something on the paper, get a couple of rules down, just start, right? It's a primer. Hopefully it's okay. Hopefully a few things you're like, yeah, I know what I'm doing here. Okay. And the few things you're like, wow, I did not realize how weak my development of these rules and strategy systems, whatever it may be. Okay. So now if you've been a little complacent, you come and you watch the market and you're trading, but you haven't put that time in, you're great. think about like, man, I would have had an entire full pass at my trading plan, 1 hour a week for the last 8 weeks, and you have a trading plan. This time it would be even better still. So wherever you are in your trading plan, it's always until you get it like real, where you're like, oh yeah, my trading plan is strong. Until it's there, just keep working on it. All right, let's go. Let's get started. Let me move this out of the way. My computer, when it restarted, my second monitor is like off kilter. Like there's an inch of black space. And I've tried to like auto adjust it and it can't seem to figure it out. And so it's like cutting off my ability to access those windows as like in a normal fashion. Anyways, I'm saying this because I've been frustrated a couple of times as I have been trying to get things set up this morning. So bear with me if that happens. I think I got everything where it needed to be. So let's just hope so. All right. Yeah, I've tried the resolution. I turned it off and on. I reset set factory. I unplugged it and plugged it back in, and I've done the auto. It's weird. It's weird, weird, weird. All right. All right. Yeah, market didn't finish great on Friday. We can see, but it didn't get any more volume. If it had gotten 2 volume days, I'd be like, ooh, I don't love that. Let's get our posture up here. Oh no, I'm missing a week. Um I don't know what happened here. Let's insert it and insert it again. Copy, paste. I don't know why that's not working. Copy, insert copied cells. Okay, this is gonna be 211. Yeah, I don't know why. There we go. And this is gonna be 218 today. Let me see if I can go off of memory last week. One thing changed last week. I believe. No. Who what did I do with those numbers? Okay, give me just 1 second. If anyone has them. Hello, Leonard. It is good to see you. Let me give me just 1 second here. And I will. I hate when my computer restarts. It's like everything is set up and I know it runs better when it does. Like I know it needs to but at the same time um everything is like I have it all in a certain way. Why do I not have a recent? I don't have the most recent numbers here. One more second. Sector went to 1. That's what I thought. And VIX dropped 1, didn't it? I have a picture of it from last week. I don't know why it didn't save. Look how disabled I am. Downloads last week was what day? Market open. Nope. Posture. Oh man, I didn't even take a picture of it last week. Like, what is going on? 128. Uh, sector rotation went to 1. Was that it? And that got us to a 7? I believe that was it, right? But that was here. Sorry. Sorry, you guys. Like, I am. All right. I think we're in the right place there. I think that was right. Okay. Okay. Let's get going. 3-year weekly, as is, right? Nothing's changed. If you remember, we first raised our score here. Right there's the last time we raised our score. When that thing broke, and you can see it's accelerated. Yeah, okay. I think we're on point with that. The long-term trend definitely bullish overall. We see it that way at a 1.25. Perfect. Okay, next. Let's get down to the 6-month daily. What happened this last week? Well, we were riding along in context with this trend that we have drawn out right now. This is our short-term trend, bottom and top. It's representative of basically since the beginning of the year. We've been in this trend. This is a bullish trend. We dropped, hit the bottom of this thing, bounced. Tuesday came for sure, but look where it went. It dropped right down, literally touched my line, held, bounced. Now, are we concerned here? Yeah, there's some concern. We have a red candle. It's pausing at the old high, but our stochastic says we still look okay. I mean, we'll see what Monday brings. Not Monday. Speaking of, not Monday. No Monday tomorrow. Markets closed tomorrow. We will meet on Tuesday morning for our weekly market open. Tomorrow, nothing is going on. We will not meet. But could something develop next week where we get a same high rather than a higher high? And we're like, ooh, I don't know about that. Or if we break below this trend, we're like, it broke the trend. Now, that doesn't mean if it breaks the trend, we go to negative. I mean, it could break the trend simply to decelerate in its trend. So if it comes down here and ends up getting to this point and then bouncing, we would still have the possibility for this type of a trend to develop. Now that's a much lower score. That's barely above a positive play, right? But that is uptrend. That's a 0.5 maybe, right? It's barely above sideways. So we're open to it, but as of right now, what do we have? We're still in this trend. I'm not changing my score. Okay, so those are my first two. Did anybody change theirs this week? Give me your net sum, meaning both your long-term and your short-term score. My net sum trend score is a 325. And that's helpful. If you go back and you look at various times, you can see we were a 3, we were a 2.75, 2.75. If you go back in November, it was only a 1.5, 1.75. Right? If you go back into the summer, we were bullish, and you can see it was a 3. It was a 3. It was a 2.75. So, right, we're not thinking it's going to be a 5. You're never going to have a 5. You're never going to have a 4. And you might think, well, why do you have it there? Well, I mean, maybe I guess someday it could get there, but it would take quite like double strong market to get there. This is pretty strong what we have right now, and it's a 3.25. Let me know if you see it differently. Let's go to volume. This is where I had a concern for this week. Sorry, this should be 1 as of now because it's continuing from last week. This is where I had a concern, was volume. Why? Because we got one new above average volume day. We're going down to a 1 month, 1 day chart. Let me move this out of the way. What happened? So now if you look at what's going on, we have 2 above average volume days. 325 for you as well, Paul. Thank you. Appreciate you sharing. We have 2 above average volume days, but they're they're disappearing by Wednesday. They're gone from this perspective. So these are, we're definitely acknowledging those are pretty stale over there. Then we have a pocket of volume here, right? And we say, so this was definitely 2 buying days here and 2 buying days here. The problem is we have a selling day here, and now we have selling day here. So if we draw in our last above average day is this one. Yesterday, Friday was not above average. It was average. So those are our days of significance that we're trying to understand what's going on. Who's pulling when they're pulling harder? The buyers were pulling over here, but this is stale. So we really aren't giving it much weight over there on the left. Over here, we're saying, hey, we had 0 and 2 over here, but they're stale. We had 1 sell day here. We had 2 here. And then we had this. And so right now we're 2 and 2, right? Well, no, technically we're 2 to 4, but this is very stale. So my thought was tie goes to the buyer is right. You're right. If there's a tie, this is a tough one. So here's what I'm deciding between. Okay. What I'm deciding, I know I'm at least taking it to a 0.5. Of course it's dropping some because it's shifted enough that we're like at a 4-2. If we have 2 days of sellers, 4 days of buyers, I would definitely say that's a 0.5. Right? I would say, yeah, that's a 0.5. But if there's 2 selling days drop off, like those are the next 2 days to go, and the most recent day goes to the sellers, it feels like it could also really pull it back to a 0.25. That's what I'm deciding between is, how much influence. And this is where I wanted to point this out today because there's always some level of subjectivity. This is an objective analysis. What are we doing objectively? We're identifying above average volume days. We're assigning each of those days to buyers or sellers because we're basically saying when there's conviction, who has it? That's the whole point of this analysis. I know this is one that people struggle with sometimes. So I think this is a good time to talk about it because we're acknowledging there is subjectivity where it's like, I have to make an opinion call here. I've worked with so many people over the years who want to they just try to figure out a way to quantify with a number everything so that it can become formulaic. And inevitably, there's something that's wrong with the results. And what I have concluded is the subjectivity is okay. It's okay for us. Like we're in professor mode right now. The chimp's napping in his cage behind us. We're not worried about the chimp right now. It's logical right now. But we do have to say, okay, what do we think? What do you think? Do you think that the fact that the 2 of the 4 buying days are just right at the edge about to fall off, and that 1 of the selling days just happened last week is enough? Pull it back. So here's what I want to do. I want to vote. I want as many of you to participate as you're comfortable with, but we were a 0.75. I mean, maybe you might even say leave it at 0.75, but I want you to put what you think the new volume score should be. 0.75, 0.5 because it's dropping some, 0.25 because you're saying, you know what, we have to acknowledge that now here's the deal. And this is one thing. Is if we leave it at a 0.5, here's what we know. Unless the buyers give us an above average volume day this week, it's definitely going to drop again to 0.25, right? Because by next week, it'll be 2-2. At 2-2, it's a tie, but we still give it to the buyers, but barely. And the week after, it could drop again, right? So that is one thing, is if you're wrong, if our opinion's wrong, it should clean itself up within a week or two. Great. I've got a couple people who said 0.5. Michael said the way we've done it in the past is a factor, so let's go with a 0.5. Perry said 0.5. Okay, let's go 0.5. Let's go 0.5, and basically it's a challenge. If the buyers can muster a day next week, great. We'll leave it at 0.5. That would be fantastic, because it would probably be bouncing back up in context with the trend again. And that's reconfirming what we're seeing here. So Paul agrees, Bob agrees, love it. 0.5 it is. Okay, major market. Major market. That's not it. That is it. Major market. Okay, so now our 9 months starts back around the beginning of May. So we have a bullish window that went from May until July. Then we had the late July through October correction. And I believe we did determine it to be corrective across the board. I think it was like, if the S&P didn't hit 10%, it was close, and the others got a little beyond it. So we'll call it a correction. That was this period of time here, right? From late July until late October. And now we have late October until now back into bullishness. So, all right. All right. Let's take it now. In that context, we have NASDAQ up here at the top, S&P in the middle. And look at this. Look at that. We can already see there's some volatility within the Russell. Like, it is chopping around, but it's holding its ground. It held the line. Hold the line. There's a lot of parity in the NASDAQ, the Dow, and the S&P during this period of time. The correction into the bull, a lot of parity. Still, though, we see the NASDAQ leading and the Dow lagging, S&P in the middle, and we're just constantly watching the Russell to see what's it going to do. How's it going to figure this out? We drop down to the 66-day time frame, and that's where we really see the plight of the small caps unfold. Starting in November, which, if you remember, that's very, very soon after we kind of bottomed out of that correction. And what led the way? Look at these small caps. Everything else is up around 10%. It was up 20. Then it had a severe consolidation. Everything else went sideways. And this was the first window when we were like, oh, I think we're all kind of pie in the sky with our Fed expectations. But even now you can see, look at this. We've gotten back where we were. This thing is just chopping around. But what's the final conclusion? It's in a leading position now, small caps. At this time frame, it's now in a leading position. NASDAQ still leading, S&P in the middle, Dow slightly behind. Everything looks bullish. This looks quite bullish here. Bullish enough that I'm starting to think, are we getting close to where we're like, NASDAQ is fully on board? For me, it's just a little too volatile, Stool. I don't think I'm going to raise that score. I'm on the fence. And if anyone did, Sandy's not here. Sandy's my take it to a one person, but I don't see her today. I would be curious if she was trying to. Anyone raise theirs? What are you scoring this? Let's drop it to 22 just to see. And you can see even here where there was a little bit of concern, right? We had a little bit of concern about the Russell, and then bam, it took off and it got through there. Now whoops. Oh, you know what? I think I wasn't. There we go. Yes. It's back and forth and back up into a leading position. So did I have this all the way to the edge? Sometimes I feel like it doesn't. Yeah, it was. All right. Yeah, you know what? Unchanged for me. 0.75, still bullish. But what's interesting is as the volume is starting to drift and demonstrate that it's going to ease back to a zero, which I said that tends to happen. In a strong trend, volume tends to sit around 0.25, right? It's but if the major market's a 1 and the sector rotation's a 1 and the VIX gets back to a 1.5, we're still going to be up in this 6.5, 7 area. It's not a 1 yet, but I'm starting to consider it. Sector rotation. Let's do sector rotation. Okay, same thing. Same time frames. What do we have? Our good friends, technology and communication services. Fantastic. A lot of trading in those two sectors. Expecting to continue to trade a lot in those sectors. Those are two of my favorites. Right now, where else are we looking? Financials. Yes. Consumer discretionary. Yes. So on this time frame, those are our top 4 that are at or above the market. You can see the market is this red one. Remember, that's the S&P. So in this situation, only 2 are well above, a couple are near, and everything else is behind. So are we still okay with industrials being close? Absolutely. Absolutely. That's my 5th leader. There's 5 in position there. Down here, what do we have? Energy, healthcare, materials. Those can be inflationary. Healthcare can move somewhat defensively at times, but as I said not long ago, since Obamacare and that healthcare has growth sector potential. It actually led, I can't remember where it was, 12, 13, somewhere around that time. There was a year and a half where the leading sector for the entire bull, and it was a bull market, was healthcare. I was like, wow, never seen this before. So it indicated that there was some kind of a paradigm shift along those lines. Okay, so that establishes our baseline. Now we start to look for shifts in strength and momentum. Still strong. Technology, still strong. Communication services, financials, all still strong, still above the market. Who's still right there as well? Industrials. Now we start seeing healthcare. Discretionary had some concerns. We acknowledge those concerns. That was part of what led to our score easing up a little bit. So we're keeping an eye on that. And then you get down here and you have your inflationary style pressures from materials and energy. Those are down here. You have your defensive sectors, staples, and utilities. Those are down here. Yeah, this looks great. Everything looks bullish so far, right? We don't see any money flowing unexpectedly into a defensive area of the market. We don't see any surges that might indicate inflation is possibly rising. So there you go. Now what? Now this is our scoring phase. What's in the lead here? Financials. Yes, we love financials. We've been looking for them. We've been trading them. Communication services, still strong. Still love them. Industrials. I think I had more industrial trades in the last 2 weeks than anything else. Then what? So those are 3 real strong ones. Now what? We have healthcare. Healthcare. Beautiful. It's strong. It's broad. It's nice to see the market. It's not like we're like, oh, I told you it can have growth qualities. It seems like that's where we are. Technology still in a leading position. All of that growth. The only one missing is discretionary, and you can see discretionary's it's making a good faith effort to get back up, and is close. You also have materials that's surged a little bit, and then down here we have what? Staples are stable. Utilities, nothing, no interest at all. Energy, a little recovery, but not bad. So yeah, I'm a 1 still. That looks fantastic. Nothing's shifted there. when we look at the 22, any like unexpected things, communication services, energy. That's something to keep an eye on. It's only on the 22 day, but it happened. We're like, oh, wait a second. If all of a sudden we saw a couple of inflationary reports that did not give the indication the Fed is looking for that we are decreasing at a certain rate or to a certain level, the last thing we want to see is all of a sudden a surge in uh, energy costs, oil costs. We don't want to see a surge in material costs. Remember that we tend to look at inflation from a supply level and a demand level. The demand level is consumer related, supply level is producer related. The PPI, producer cost index, goes up if it costs more to build and create and ship things. So just something to keep an eye on. We're not like, oh no, what's happening? We're like, all right, let's see how that plays out. We've seen it before, and then it fell back down. Our defensive sectors are still down at the bottom. There's no concern. There's no like, oh, the market's repositioning itself to be a little more defensive. We're really looking ahead of the curve, or at least we're trying to, when we watch that, what happens with this energy. So, okay, perfect. Unchanged. Let's go to the VIX. Last thing of the day. Okay, let's pop over VIX. And so last week, what happened? So last week we had a higher low, which I hedged. I don't know if anybody else did. The higher low right there when this thing popped up. That's about where it was. So higher low than what? Than these lows. It didn't get back down. What does that mean? I was feeling pretty good. We had a lower high here, and actually this was a pretty good bullish window. I would expect that you had some bullish trades and were profitable during that window. The higher low helped to confirm for me the close of that window, but I did still have, I think, one. I think I only had one, but I hedged, and I was able to take just a small piece of profit on this day. I can't remember where the VIX would have been, but on this day here, just a little profit, and then the rest of it has what? Come all the way back down. So that hedge is, what am I thinking with that hedge? And what am I thinking with the VIX? I'm thinking we have another higher low potential setting up right now, and that's concerning. As bullish as we are, I'm always on the lookout for something that says, wait, what about this? And this is it. This is pulling back, but on Friday it held, and it's holding here, which is another higher low, right? Now, if we just we actually talked about this on Friday. We talked about this on Friday, and on Friday it actually gave back so much. Bob is right. He said the last hour it became a doji. It did. It ended up dropping so that it was still under the previous day's body. That's not enough for me to be like it's bottom. That still looks like Monday we could have a bullish day, and then it would be a red candle, and then another red candle, and then another. We had 3 bullish days in a row. This thing could all of a sudden be right back down here. And then the hedge signal's off, right? But until that happens, my concern is if we have a bearish day on Monday and we have a candle that looks like this, that very well could turn this, and that could be our indication of a higher low. Now, you might wait all the way to here. You might wait to see how it looks at the end of the day. But this is not Monday, Tuesday. Not Monday. It's Tuesday. I told you I'd keep doing it. On Tuesday, when the markets next open, that is a concern of mine. And this is the most concerning part of the posture, because 2 things happened, and I am going to score them both. Number one, higher low. That is minus 0.25. Then what happened? We took all this out. Bam. Higher high. Minus 0.25. Oh, so bad at writing. Okay, minus 0.25. So those are my two scores on here. I don't like how this has this kind of escalating look. We're at a crucial point right here. You'll notice we got back above that 50 and now we're sitting on top of it. So that's my concern. It is enough that that is going to drop to a 0.75. Bam. 0.75. 6 points. So we're going to drop by 3/4 of a point. Is that concerning? Mildly. It's not like, oh no, what are we going to do? I'm still at 6.25. That's the first thing. It's one. Remember that we came out of a little bit of a drop and then we got all this. So I'm going to rely on this. I'm going to think very much that the market could come out and just give me 3 bullish days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But I am certainly watching with some level of concern because if if this does give a higher low, I want you to think about where that puts us over here on the SPY. That makes this a double top. We may break this. We may break the bottom of this. Now, as long as we stay above the 50, I'm okay with it. But yeah, let's just kind of keep an eye on this here. What are our expectations? Well, late February through early March can definitely be a bit sideways. So do I think that that could possibly look like this? And then another one of these busts out in March and April. Boom, boom. Yes, I definitely think that. I definitely think we could see, and our score might ease. If our score drops into the like high fives, if this thing eases up, I'm okay with that. If we are watching it within the day, what moves might we make, or do we need to wait until the end of the day? On the VIX, if it breaks if it breaks Friday's high, yeah, that's a bad sign. That's what I'm looking for in the day, Press. That's a great question. So look at seasonality. Yeah, I don't have my seasonality chart right now. Give me 1 second here. I can grab one. That is a good call out, Michael, because okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab a new document here. And I don't need this. And I am going to minimize. Okay, give me 1 second here. Nope, that's not what I want. Pause. Okay. Screen. Almost there. Give me 1 second here. Cut. Done. Don't save. Move you over. Boom. Okay. Unpause. Okay, here's one. It's a little, let me see if I can blow this up. Boom. Okay, here it is. And you'll notice here is February to March. This is what we tend to expect. And you can see this is what's happened. So we've been right in line. This goes up, this goes up. Right now, what do we tend to look for next? A little bit of sideways, late March, late February into early March. And then what do we look for? March into April, boom. That's our next run. Then we get a little bit of sideways. And then late June to July, we can get a little piece. So yeah, is this always how it works? No, but it works this way often enough. It creates a composite and we use that composite to help. So does that jive with what we're saying may be on the radar now? Let me get rid of this. I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm going to minimize this. Do we think there's a chance we have that kind of sideways here? Maybe it veers back towards the 200, the 50-day moving average. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's my thought. So there it is. That's my posture. That's what I'm looking for. We're seeing this week. This thing could bust a little higher up and just keep this last move going, or it might consolidate and we're going to see, we'll trade what we see. That's it. Trade what we see. Okay. Let's hit the watch list now real fast. I know I've started a little late. We may go a little over. Apple. I think I would still like a little longer, but not much more. I'm gonna keep Apple on my list. If it can make a surprise comeback, Apple can certainly lead the NASDAQ if it turns. AIG, not yet. AMD, I tried and ended up closing, just never materialized. Didn't lose, just didn't gain. I mean, it just sort of, washed out. Nothing there now. Amazon looks great for a setup. Amazon definitely looks great for a setup. I'll put a star there. Okay. AXP, I would put it on my list. I mean, it looks strong. It looks like it could be flagging and trying to turn. The financials are strong right now. We can see that. Boeing, nothing there. BK, I don't like that one as much. BLDR is starting to consolidate, but it's got earnings this week. 222 is Thursday. There's no market Monday. You only have Tuesday and Wednesday for this thing to consolidate and turn. There's no way. BX, I took that one and made a little, gave some back. Just kind of watching it to see if another trade develops. City, in it, still in it. In it, still in it. It's still sitting on top of this line. Stochastics looks fine. Still have a profit. Anyone in this? Anyone carrying this one through? We talked about this one, and AMD is our two favorite last week. I took them both. AMD shut it down. Basically a wash. This one's making some money. Where's my chat? Anyone else doing this one? Still in it? Okay, love it. Love it. Caterpillar. Anyone take Caterpillar? That was tradable, I believe, on Friday or on Thursday. And then Friday, nothing happened. I think you could have taken the signal pretty early on Friday. Remember that, and this is one of the things we're going to be doing with the alerts. Well, the way the alerts are going to work is I am definitely going to be playing off of the previous day's high. So oftentimes the opening range when I give an alert is going to be kind of like this. If the alert came from this day, the morning of, it's going to have this on this morning. When I say this, I'm going to change the color so that you have a sense of how these are going to work. Let me know what you guys think about this. So on this day here, the alert would come out 30 minutes before market open, and it's going to give you a range for the validity of the trade. And that range is likely going to be right at the previous day's high, and maybe like a 50-cent range or $1, depending on how expensive the stock is. So that's the entry right there. That'll be the trigger. And then when it triggers, you set up your trade. You can set it up to be automatic so that you say, I'm going to build this trade, and If it crosses that first red line, it's going to put me in my trade. When it puts me in, it's going to trigger a stop right below the bottom here. Or maybe you say, I'm going to put it right below the bottom of the previous day. Same thing. When I give a stop range, it's going to be like that. So where are those ranges going to be? Probably going to be below the low of the previous day and the low of the day before that. And that's going to create the range. That's going to give you the ability to decide, where will my entry be? How much confirmation do I need? Where will I put my stop? And then we'll have a little bit of some target information where we talk about previous high, higher high, and what kind of targets are we going to set for this thing. That's what's going to come in the alerts. So it's going to be a good amount of information, but it's going to leave you still with a few decisions, because that's the intention, right? It's not give you a trade, it's give you the start of a trade, and you make that your trade. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense, because they are coming this week. So let me know if you have any questions about that. But this would have been a great example. So now what would we be doing? Nothing. We're in it still. Stochastics looks fine. Yeah, it had a little bit of a shooting star, but that's not anything until it's confirmed. If the next day it looks like this, then we're going to be just fine. Great. Okay, let's keep going. COF, I'd put it on the list. Now, some of these, if you're like thinking about trading them and you're not sure about your entries, you can always switch your entry thought process to Heikin Ashi and just simply say, when I get, now these are still hard because they're not quite momentum candles where it's a bigger body with them. They do have no lower shadow, but the bodies are a little small. That's iffy. That's iffy, but I'll put it on the list. If at any time we take a trade here, if you think you're getting in first or second momentum candles, that's going to be plenty of time for whatever move you think you're catching, and you have the ability to raise your stops and tighten stops using Heikin Ashi as a methodology. COP, nothing. Costco, yeah, Costco may just take off again. Looks great, looks strong. CrowdStrike, not yet, but I'm going to put it on the list because it might flag. It goes fast. It goes fast. CSX still looks to be, it gave an anticipatory signal, but not a confirmed signal. So if you're still waiting for it, let's put CSX on the list. DAL, not yet for me. DHI, same thing. There's the Dow. Hold on. DKNG, I don't know about that one. DVN. Devon, is that Devon Energy? It is Devon Energy. Okay. Looks like it's tried to double bottom, trying to get back above the 50. Here's what I would say. It did. So it double bottomed. It really didn't break its consolidation for me until here. But it did definitely give a little bit of a little flag higher low right through here. So if you got in that one Thursday, especially if it was relatively early Thursday or midway Thursday, great. Is that earnings coming up? It sure is. Boom. What do we know about that? 227 aftermarket. That's what you have until. That's plenty of time. 227 is next Tuesday aftermarket. Yeah, I think you're fine. I wouldn't be concerned there. I got to go a little faster. I got to get going. Ford still on the list, ready to go. Fastenal. I'd still put Fastenal on the list. I mean, you can see our list is chock full of things that are still strong, uptrends, bouncing, staying above the 50. No concerns. GBTC we added. If anyone wants to ever dip into the crypto market, this is a ETF that tracks Bitcoin trading. You can see it's had a surge. It's at new highs. We needed to wait for some sort of a consolidation. Same thing with GE. GE and Bitcoin moving very similarly. A little overextended. Nothing for us now. Gold down, but we'll keep watching. Google. Come on, Google. We're rooting for you. We want to trade you. We're fans. hold up. We can get Google, Apple, Microsoft to hold up and turn. That's all we need. NASDAQ is strong with that. Home Depot. Home Depot is strong, but it's got earnings tomorrow before market. So if you're in it, you're praying because you're at the whim of market of earnings now. I mean, it's a good signal. It pulled back and turned. I get that, but you're riding earnings. IBM, I tried. It didn't work. A nice little, I think, I can't remember if it was break even. I think maybe a break even, small loss, and it's starting to go again. I don't know. I hate if I miss something with a false start. Let's see what these look like here. Took it Friday at the close, IBM. I think it's valid. I think it's valid. And let's see what the Heiken Ashi looks like. Yeah, that's valid. And if you move your stop under the previous low, is it still open for business on Tuesday? If you can enter it at or near, like if you, it might open lower on, and then it's open. Yeah. So nice. I like it. I like it. I might see if I can't catch an entry that like on an open where it just pulls back and gets me in on a misprice, something like that. We'll see. Intel, maybe. I'll put it on the list. I mean, Intel was crazy for a minute there. If it has a higher low, I'm open-minded to it. IWM looks okay. It held everything we asked it to hold. JPM overextended. Las Vegas Sands overextended. Meta. We'll see. The chips were pretty crazy last week, Bob. You're not wrong. Microsoft. Oh, Microsoft. Look at you lining up. Come on, Microsoft. We declared you our new AI champion with your how much you own of OpenAI. Come on. Come on. Netflix popped. Got a dark cloud cover real fast, though. That didn't really give much opportunity. NVIDIA earnings coming up. I don't know. You're just going to have to watch that one. Pakar. So what was hard is I traded this and then was out, and then it went bing, bing. I mean, I live with what I saw, but it always sucks to watch it pop 2 days afterwards. NASDAQ, just kind of sitting. Ross Stores, retail, that one's relatively new. I think that looks good. It's on the short list. Alerts, any alerts that come this week will come from exactly this list. Microsoft introduced Copilot, added icon. Yeah, Microsoft. Look at SMCI. You guys remember that? That was crazy. Ended up down 20% for the day. Oh, shit. There's our SPY, TPR overextended, UNP. I think CSX looks better now. There's the VIX. It always tells me it's not tradable. Okay, here's Waste Management. Okay, overextended. Walmart, nothing. Earnings coming up. Here are the sectors. XBI. XLB looks pretty strong. A little bit of a surge coming in materials. Communication services look strong, but maybe pulling back. Energy had a little bit of a potential for a break. Financial still looks great. Industrial still looks great. Technology still looks great. Staples looks strong. I'd trade it. I mean, it's not like it's leading. It doesn't look defensive, but it's tradable. XLU, nothing there. Healthcare. We actually talked about the ETF being viable last week. Consumer discretionary. Okay. Well, I mean, the list looks good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We got like 15 on the list. We've got tech, consumer discretionary. We've got financial. We've got industrial. That's just the first 4. Financial, consumer staple, technology, industrial, communication services, technology, chips, technology, consumer discretion. It's pretty wide range. FinViz, let's go take a look at FinViz. Okay. Now you said you wanted me to look at the sector map, heat map, is that right? By sector? Let me see here. This is what do you want to do? You want to do year to date? Here's year to date. Year to date, you can see Nvidia has crushed it. Meta has crushed it. Eli Lilly has crushed it. Tesla's gotten beat up. Intel's gotten beat up. Boeing's gotten beat up. Google's okay. Amazon's pretty good. Microsoft's pretty good. Warren Buffett's done all right this year so far. Let's look in the last month. What changes? Okay. Okay. So now a little bit in the last month, you can see the bullishness. Apple's a little down. So here's the thing. Everyone's like, oh, the big seven. In the last month, three of what I don't know. Do they consider Tesla big seven these days? I don't know if they do, but they're there. Google's down, Apple's down, Microsoft is flat, Tesla's down. Meta crushed it. Amazon crushed it. They don't consider Nvidia, but Nvidia crushed it. Or do they consider Nvidia now? I don't know. Everyone's fluid with what they consider, anyways. All right, so there you go. What's going on? Real quickly. Economic calendar. What's happening this next week? Let's go take a peek. Nothing on Monday. Why? It's closed. Nothing on Tuesday. Well, leading indicators, nobody cares. Wednesday, minutes from FOMC meeting and a little bit of Fed speak. Maybe. There's maybe something in there that the market's interested in. Thursday, jobless claims, but not much else. There's some Fed speak. I think we're all kind of in the same place with what we're thinking of the Fed. So Thursday, Fed speak, nothing Friday. There's really not much coming out. Let's do a quick Fed look. 9-1 probability against. 2-1, not quite, but mostly 2-1 probability against. I'm still in the June camp. I think we're going to see enough good data between then and now that it goes to 1-1, and then we get that cut. I'm going for May, you guys. Press is June. I think. Anyone else more in the June or beyond? I think Michael might say June, maybe even July. June is the first time where we have odds in favor of a cut. June. So we may not get any Fed help, but can we still have a bullish spring? I think the market looks just fine. It's the Fed that might get us out, right? So if it's sell in May and go away, and we have May sideways, and then it's going sideways June, and then it's the Fed somewhere in here that helps to kick things into gear. All right. All right. That works for me. Okay. This week's trading plan section is why is this here? Get out of my way. Okay. We are on section 8. Setting goals. Only one outcome goal. That's where you're like, I want to make 50% a year. I want to make 20% a year. One outcome goal for one time frame. That's it. Everything else is about this process goals, improving your trading process. You need some kind of record keeping for your goals. I don't really have a spreadsheet for that. I guess I could set something. I guess I could set something up. This isn't right. So goals. Then here's the process. Set the goal. SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, reasonable, timely. Set your timeline. Define action steps, at least 3. What are you going to specifically do to achieve that goal? How frequently are you going to monitor? So if it's a monthly goal, do you look at it weekly? If it's a quarterly goal, do you look at it monthly? Right? Check in on it. See how you're doing. When you get to the end, did you complete it? Are you going to try it again? What are your goals focusing on? Weaknesses from section 1, and trading priorities as established from your record keeping. Your analytics should be spitting out ideas for goals constantly. Now, if you're setting goals based on analytics, there's 3 things we're thinking about. Number 1, be right more often. So you're looking at your winning percentage. You're thinking about your trading signals and your entries, triggers, and your exits. Number 2, make more money when you're right. When you're right, are you squeezing as much as you can? Are you holding on too long? Are you getting out too early? What are you doing to make as much as you can to control the trade for as long as you can? Right? Are you adapting your strategies, etc.? And number 3, lose less money when you're wrong. That's highlighted because that's the one you have the most control over. We can't just keep you can't just be right more often all the time. Maybe you can get, if you're only right 30, 35%, can you get it to 40, 50? Yeah. Can you get 40, 50 to 60, 70 and 60, 70 to 80, 90? And if you just keep working on your signals, you'll eventually get to 100. No. Nope. That doesn't happen. Just like if I bench press and I keep bench pressing, I'm not going to eventually bench press 1,000 pounds, right? If I go start jumping and I jump a lot and jump, and I lose some weight, I could jump a certain amount. Now you may not believe this, but I could dunk a basketball in high school, college, and even a little bit out of college, which is pretty good for a 6-foot white guy. But could I ever do it again? Nope. Never again. It will never happen again. It's the same thing. Your trading will only produce a certain amount. We're getting it to a certain point, and then that's it. And then we're working on what? Are you making as much as you can with your winners? It's going to get to a certain point, right? They're not going to just keep going up. So what can we always focus on? Losing less when you're wrong, getting out when you're wrong, taking your losses better, constant focus. But look, we should have something for all of those. There should be a goal that's working towards those at any given time. What are we specifically doing? That's very deliberate. This is professor work. This is a good section. So put some time in this week to get your goal structure in place. Thank you, Press. I appreciate that. All right. Did I watch the NBA last night? Oh, 7'4". Is that Victor Wembanyama? Is that his name? That French kid? Yeah, that's something. There's that Chet Holmgren. He's like a homegrown, like 7'1" kid that's like can dribble, shoot, dunk. Anyway. So little interesting tidbit. When I was in college, I had not in college, right out of college, I started a business. It was a transportation company. I had a van. And I would try to, I'd drive people up to the ski resorts in the winter, but I ended up getting a contract with the Utah Jazz. And so I drove for the Utah Jazz in various circumstances for about 3 years. And one of the things I would drive was they had a rookie league out here, the Rocky Mountain Review, and all the teams would come with their rookie, all the guys trying to, right? They'd have their draft picks and they'd have guys trying to make the team. And so anyways, and they'd play a whole tournament and you could go buy a ticket. It was very cool. But I would drive the team to practices, to the hotels and to games. And one of the players that the Jazz were looking at, this is at the tail end of his career, but they brought him in, was George Murasan. If you guys don't remember Georgie Murasan, he was 7'7". And he didn't make the cut. This was like I said, he went back to Romania and whatever, but such an amazingly nice guy. But he was lost on the first day and I had to go get him and walk him through the hotel. Yeah, he was actually in a movie called My Giant with Billy Crystal. Anyways, so me and Georgie Mirasan walking through the hotel. No shit, he almost hits his head on a sprinkler spike on the ceiling in the hotel. Like it was insane. I'm like, Georgie, watch your head. Almost hits his head on the ceiling. It was anyways, it was hilarious. We actually went out. I would take some of the guys and pick them up and we'd go to a bar and hang out at a sports bar and we were there playing pool. Watching a 7'7" man play pool is something. It is something to behold. Anyways, all right, listen. I gotta get running, you guys. Good. I think we're in a good place. Little bit of a pullback, a little bit that we're like, maybe we're gonna see some sideways, but I'm still looking to put bullish trades on. That's what I'm gonna be looking for this week. So, and still got some that I'm carrying through. Let's watch for that head signal. I will see you guys Tuesday morning, at the usual time. And as always, happy trading.